living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better
Welcome
days.
everyone to today's meeting of us breaking into tech. Before we get started, I do have a few folks that's online that will be looking to speak to us about um, their relationship in the tech field, their contributions, their experience, and how they see certain things. If you guys do have questions, reach out and post it at the bottom, and we'll get them to answer it. And also, we're going to have a Q&A session shortly to come, which is going to be separate from here, since this meeting is just going to be roughly about an hour. But I want you guys to hear from a few folks that we have online. They're also part of the group, the community. And without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Taylor here. He's been a part of the Black community, the network for minutes. And we would like to go ahead and start off with his introduction as well, and also his experiences. And he'll be covering the topic today, meta learning. So without further ado, Mr. Taylor.
Hey, how y'all doing today? I'm gonna start my timer. I hope y'all are doing amazing today. I come from the government sector now, Fed Tech. I'm super excited to be a part of serving my country in different ways. And learning is one of the most important skills that you could ever obtain and could ever grow in your life. Because you can never obtain any other skill without it. It's the greatest skill. So why not get your skill level up in learning? We're all students of life. And learning is a lifestyle and it's lifelong. And one of the best ways to really get your learning to go at the best is with hands-on. With my brother Jaime, he be doing all the hands-on labs and such. Project-based learning is definitely a way to go. And when you do project-based learning, you can get, you take ownership of your learning and you can get excited about it. It's not just watching videos. It's not just reading books. Now you get excited about it. Like for me, I like to do I want to do an Azure honeypot because I'm trying to learn Azure and I want to make a robotic backpack like Mr. Krabs. And I need to learn C++ and Python for that. As opposed if I was just learning, the tutorials to get that. Now that I'm learning these are projects that I can take ownership in that's unique to what I like. And as I'm doing them, I can showcase what I'm building and creating. And I get excited about that. It becomes an adventure for me. It doesn't just be a chore. So project-based learning and hands-on is definitely the way to go. And we always talk about, there's been a lot going on in the group about passion. And passion is good. I grew up just taking things apart, looking at how things operate and function and such. I like when you go in the kindergarten classroom, you got that big floppy disk, you put it inside the computer and you got like a number munchers, treasure mountain and all that stuff. That's what I grew up on. But you ain't got to be like me though. Some of y'all might just be here for the money, and I understand that. Passion is good. Being curious is a necessity in this field, but having a strong why is a must. You have to have a strong why you continue to learn in this field, why you continue to build towards what you want here. Getting a lot of money is a nice start, but it's not strong enough. You have to dig deeper. Why do you want to make money? Because I want to support my family. Okay, why do you want to support your family? Because my father and mother is getting into that age where I have to get ready to take care of them, and I want to make sure that I can support them in the best way. And I don't really have too much time left, so I have to make sure that I can deliver and be most efficient while also building a legacy for my community. You have to keep digging deeper to find out what your strong why for you. That's what Jamil wants. That's his strong why. You have to find out what that strong why is for you. And you might have to dig deep, but it has to be a burning desire within you. It has to be something that you are after it. It can't be lukewarm. It has to be in you. So yeah, just being able to engage with that and being able to get the projects done and everything that gets you where you need to go. And there's some books I want to recommend. I'm probably gonna put them in the chat too. Jim Quick, Scott Young, and Dr. Barbara Oakley is some really, really good meta learning people that I go to. I mean, you could go hours and hours on meta learning. There's entire books and classes on it, but it's good. It's a good skill to push forward towards. And I get excited about tech and just growing and helping people however I can. I'm excited to move up to the next step. And I'm going to take it back to Jermaine, and I thank y'all for your time. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the speakers.
Appreciate you for your wise words, Mr. Taylor. I do agree with you. Meta learning is absolutely necessary. Miss Kim, Miss Scott, how are you? You ready?
I think I am. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear
Yes,
you.
loud
So
and
Miss Kim is going to be covering today resume and cover letter, and also she's going to dive into networking as well. One of the bigger topics that we also have on the schedule.
All right. So thank you, Jermaine. As he mentioned, my name is Kim Scott. I own K Scott Learning Consultants. So my company helps develop courses and training for companies and even individuals. Some of them sell them. Some of them use them to train employees or even their customers, as well as the systems that they live on. So today I want to talk to you about resumes and cover letters first. I want to set the tone and acknowledge that this is a really tough job market. So I see people all the time saying, I've applied to 500 jobs or I've done this or that. Remember that for really the last 2 years, it has been a tough job market. I don't care what the unemployment numbers say. This is very much an employer's market. So keep that in mind. That sometimes there's a lot of things you can do, but because the employers can be highly specific, they can pick exactly who they want. It can be a little tough. So make sure you keep that in mind, because I keep seeing people, as Jermaine said in the group saying, tech is oversaturated and there's too many people trying to get into tech. I hear that in an instructional design field, the UX field, the technical writing field, every field except maybe teaching and those that are hard to staff are saying the same thing. It's oversaturated. It's too many newbies. But I'm going to give you some tips that can definitely help put you at an advantage, because right now, more than any time, you really need to shine if you want to get into this field or find a new job. So one of the first things I want to tell you that I feel like a lot of people miss the mark is a resume and a cover letter. It's not a history of your jobs. It's not about, oh, let me just tell you what I showed up to work and did. A lot of people, their resumes and cover letters read, I showed up, I did this, I went home. Okay, so why should I hire you? I got 500 other people who did that. What you need to do is make yourself stand out. What is your expertise? What did you do besides show up, punch that clock, sit down at a desk, and do help desk tickets? Or, okay, you're in cybersecurity. You sat there at a desk for 3 years. Tell me what you did. You really need to make yourself stand out. And you can usually do that in 2 ways. Tell how in your previous experience you solved their problem, or you made the company better while you were there. So when I've left certain employers, when I put in my 2 weeks notice, they were like, this is a big gap to fill. And you did a lot while you were there. That's what you want them to say. And that's what you want to express when you go to a new company. So here are some specifics, because I like to not say just broadly how you do things. Let me give you some specific tips and tricks that'll actually help you out. If you're not doing this, I want you to do this today, whether you're watching this, September 8th when we're recording it, or you're watching it 2 months from now. If you're not doing this, you can be an employee, you can be a business owner, I don't care who you are. If you want to get paid, start keeping track of your achievements, okay? If you don't have achievements, start getting some. And don't underestimate yourself. If you don't know achievements, start asking a trusted coworker. Because when I was looking for that and looking to revise my resume, I thought of some things, but I was like, I'm kind of stumped. So you know what I did? I went to coworkers and said, what do I do well here? What do you feel like you can come to me and ask me about? Or when you have XYZ problem, you say, oh, let me go to Kim. I know Kim can help me with this. Ask your coworkers that. Sometimes even ask family members, ask friends, because I've had friends say, Kim, you real organized. Every time I need something explained and broken down to the most minute level, I know I can go to you and you won't make me feel stupid. So go around asking those people, what is it that they feel like you specialize in? What can they come to you about? What kind of professional things have you done that you feel like they're achievements? And it's great to get awards and certifications. Those are wonderful. But some jobs, like, some smaller companies don't offer awards. So think about your achievements. It's not always the big shiny thing. It can be smaller things. Some examples can be if you saved the company money, if you made the company money, if you created a process that made things more efficient. Did you save them some time? Sometimes you can't always, people think, oh, you have to be in sales to make a company money. No, I've saved an IT department $50,000. All because instead of us buying something new, I realized that another division across town had some computers that we wanted sitting on the shelf, basically brand new. And I was like, hey, let's go get those instead of buying these brand new. Boom, I done saved them $50,000. And I ain't spend nothing. So those are the kind of examples. Think of achievements. What I want you to do is put on your calendar once a month, every month while you're at work, write down achievements I had this month. Go back through your calendar, look at things. Another thing in line with the achievements is looking at data, specific examples or numbers. I'm a trainer. So did I train a certain amount of people? Okay. Did you solve a certain number of help desk tickets? If you're in cybersecurity, did you prevent a certain number of threats? Are there numbers? Is there data? Is there dollars to back up what you're saying? So I can't just say, oh, I'm Kim Scott and I'm a good trainer. No, I've provided training that was used by over 100,000 users in 20 different countries. I got numbers to back mine up. Okay. And I want y'all to have numbers to back yours up too. Kim, why do we need achievements? Why do we need numbers and data? Because that's what's going to go on your resume, boo. That's what makes you stand out. If I look, I've even had, some people, we're going to talk about networking in a minute, in the tech business owners chat that have looked at some of my achievements and said, oh, Kim, you saved the customer $5,000. Kim, let me holler at you. What kind of training you got going on in saving customers $5,000? I'm supposed to hear about this. Or sometimes I've saved customer stuff because I realize, you buy 2 different software systems to do the same thing, boo. Let's say $3,000 here, and let's combine this, and I didn't save you X, Y, and Z. That kind of stuff as a business owner, sales. Same thing as an employee. I don't care if you're a secretary. If you didn't say that over the years, if you didn't say because you didn't told them a cheaper paper they can buy as a secretary, if you didn't say them $3,000, I want you as my secretary, because that means I don't. Remember, I told you at the beginning, I don't show up and I do my job and I clock out and go home. No, I show up and I show out. I save people money. I make them more efficient. I tell them about mistakes they about to make. I help show them, you could do this and this to help make you extra money, right? Nobody dislikes somebody that saves them money or makes them money. So that's what puts you ahead. Also, when you're writing your resume and cover letter, call these things out. Talk about how you saved money, how you made things more efficient because you were there, how they were doing processes that were 22 steps and you got it down to 10. Okay. Think about those types of things. And when you have a job that you want to apply to, what you do is you look at their job description and you look at your resume, and those things that they want in that job description that you have in your resume, particularly the ones where you have achievements and data, talk that up. Talk that up in the resume, customize your cover letter for it, and talk it up in the interview, because they're going to want to hear about those things. And then the last thing on the resume or cover letter tip I wanted to tell you is, y'all, please use AI. Please use AI. Now, what I don't want you to do is say, AI, write my cover letter, let it write it, and walk out, because AI can make mistakes, okay? And it doesn't know all of the things you may have forgotten to explain it. But use AI to help you sometimes think about achievements you've had, to refine the language. You may know that you're the top dog in the database admin department but you don't know how to articulate that. So go to AI, ask them what kind of career achievements could a software engineer have? And sometimes you'll look at the examples they give you and say, oh, I've done something like that, but even better. When you're writing your resume, you may not be a good writer or know formal corporate language. Write it and let it refine it and make sure you check it out. Again, I'm going to give you two examples. Perplexity and Claude AI are two of my favorite. They're a lot more detailed. Perplexity gives you examples. So want to make sure that you're using the top AIs. And I'm sure there's other ones out there, but that's an example of two of them. And then the last thing I want to talk to you all about is networking. Okay. We as Black people, and I'm saying this, I'm just as Black as everyone else, we don't network a lot. Okay. We don't network enough. We need to make this become a thing. I am teaching my teenage daughter how to network, because sometimes it's not just what you know or who you know, but who you know. And sometimes it is what you know. You're an awesome software developer, but because nobody knows you're an awesome software developer, how are they going to hire you? Okay. And I'm going to talk about networking two different ways, because I think people forget about the second one. One is in person. That's when you go into networking events. But let's talk about not the traditional ones. Okay, there's networking events. People think of, oh, go shake your hands, give you business cards, that kind of stuff. Think about networking at sorority and fraternity meetings. Think about networking after church, okay, when y'all are getting coffee. Think about networking with people. I've heard of people networking at the gym. I've heard of people networking with it's PTA night and all the parents sitting around waiting on it to start. Think about networking there. My point is, networking doesn't have to be a formal event where you put on a suit and tie and you go give out business cards and shake hands. The second place I want you to consider networking. Oh, well, let me go back real quick. In person, you want to consider places like, I think meetups.com, Eventbrite. Check these sites, because a lot of times they have different networking events for your interests, not just your career, but different conferences or places that you can network. Check with your Better Business Bureau, check with your Chamber of Commerce. There's a lot of government places. I'm going to give you some organizations like SCORE. There's also the SBA, the Small Business Association, and the Small Business Development. I think the last word is council. These are government agencies. They have online webinars, they have in-person events, and they're free. And when you sign up for them, a lot of times they send you newsletters with all these in-person networking events. Go. If you're an introvert or you don't know how to do it, take a buddy. I take my sister. I was like, girl, you need to get out the house. You done work for the same employer all your life. Come on, we going out here. I go with my friend, and we go line dancing together. Let's start, let's go to this networking event, girl. Let's go hang out. But go meet people, and I'm going to tell you how to network in a minute. The next type of networking I want to talk about is online. A lot of people neglect this. Y'all, my business survives today off of online networking. And I tell people, a lot of, I'll say about 75 to 90% of the clients I get, I didn't go after, I didn't apply. People are giving me clients. Why are they giving me? Because I network, because I get out there. I'm in groups like the Black IT Network. I'm in other professional Facebook groups. I'm on LinkedIn. When there are meetups and things like this, we talk. The tech business owners within the Black IT group has their own chat. And thanks to brother Q, who you'll hear from in a minute, he sets up weekly chats where we discuss different things, talk about problems, talk about solutions, and we just get to know each other. And from there, sometimes people get clients, sometimes people may get jobs. But what I want to talk to you most about when you're in these online forums, when you're in Reddit, Slack, Facebook, and you're in these groups, when you're in person, what do? Two things. I want you to get value and give value. and everything else can kind of fall within there. I think a lot of people go in there and want to ask questions and leave it at that. No, you need to start answering questions. Even if you're a newbie, sometimes you know things about the world of work in general. So start giving some value. You found a cool resource or AI did something nice for you, share it, because you don't know who's looking for an AI analyst. Okay. If somebody asks a question, give them a good answer that actually adds some value. Okay. Ask strategic questions about best practices, not just, oh, how do I get into tech? Ask some good questions about, why did you choose this career path and what benefits has it given you? If you could go back and change something, ask higher order questions that someone could get some value out of. When you do that, it's not just the I'm shaking your hands or hi, I'm Kim Scott and I like puppies. No, you're adding some value. You're helping people know your expertise, as well as you're getting expertise from people. And the more you do that, the more you will see people wanting to connect with you on LinkedIn, people wanting to have one-on-one chats with you. And then when there are jobs, or if you're an entrepreneur, if there are contracts, people think of you first. So I'm Kim Scott. I know I've said a lot, but thank you for your time today.
Appreciate you, Miss Kim. Thank you so much for your knowledge. Folks, you need to get in touch with this lady too. She's very knowledgeable. She got her own stuff going on as well. But we're going to put all the contacts here at the bottom later, so you guys can actually follow up with her if you have questions later. All right, so next up is going to be Mr. Q. Are you ready, sir?
Yeah, I'm all good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we need to see you, man. I know your picture looks good. Let's see some videos. Show me that mustache.
Man, where I'm at right now, so it's my lighting is terrible. You wouldn't be able to see me. But yeah, you just call me Quinn or Q. Kim, you definitely touched on a lot of great things that I was gonna mention as well. So I'll just expand on that. But like I mentioned, just call me Quinn, and I'm the CEO and founder of Nave Security. I'm definitely glad to be here with you all to try to get some gems where I can. So my background has always been in cybersecurity and IT. I started off doing networking, mainly in the Army, and then on the side I started doing security work as I started learning more about it. And then from there, how I came to start my business, Nave Security, is I had a passion for healthcare and like psychology and the mind and things like that. And then I started looking into like medical devices, and from there I was thinking, well, how can you secure these medical devices? What are happening with these medical devices? As I started learning more, I've seen videos of people just hacking into their pacemakers or any implantables that they had. People were just hacking to them like it's nothing. And then from there, I started learning more and more, and I definitely wanted to have some form of impact into healthcare to secure medical devices and just healthcare technology overall. So from there, that's why I started my business and do what I do. Just looking forward, I definitely wanted to speak to you guys on specifically building a brand and also a little bit more with networking. I know Kim definitely gave some good gems, but the important thing of building a brand, or let me start by defining a brand. So to me, a brand, everyone has a brand even if you don't have a business. And what your brand is when someone looks at you or hear you or just interact with you in some way, directly, indirectly, what it is that they think about you. So in some cases, you're trying to get, if you're networking, reaching out to people, doing other things, what is it that you want them to think of? Do you want them to think of you as, oh, this is just someone that's trying to get into tech? Or do you want them to think of it the next step as, oh, this is someone that has potential, that's definitely working to make an impact in tech or cybersecurity? So with your brand, and also just going back to networking, Um, I would say make it very strategic of how you network with people. Don't just if you're looking for. I know a lot of people that try to get into tech try to look for a mentor right away, but you should also just think about how you're approaching people because that also ties into your brand. So, like I mentioned, if you're looking for a mentor, figure out why you're looking for a mentor. From there, try to find someone that aligns with your goals and just ask them just simple questions. Ask them to advise you here and there. Don't just approach someone and say like, "Oh, I'm trying to get into tech. Please mentor me." Because 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be the type of mentor that you're looking for. So there's just some quick gems that I want to drop. There's a few books that will definitely help you guys out a lot with just building a brand. And I read it not too long ago, but it's called Building a Story Brand. And the concepts that the book builds on, it's you can put it in a statement, but it's every character has a problem and meets a guide who gives them a plan and calls them to action that helps them avoid failure and ends in success. So just think about that. Even if you're trying to get into tech, you're applying for jobs, you're doing interviews. So you apply for the job. Why? Because they have a problem. Why are they trying to interview you? Because they're looking for a guide who gives them a plan that can basically tell them like, hey, and this goes back into having an effective resume and cover letter, whatever it may be, is how they reached out to you. But you basically just want to highlight the impact that you made, which is also going to tie into giving them a plan. And then from there, you're just building on why they should hire you. Why are you the perfect fit? What are you doing different? All these things also tie back into a brand, like I said. When that interviewer leaves, what are they gonna think? Oh, this is just some person that's trying to get into tech. They don't know what they're talking about, or they weren't confident, or they gonna think like, oh, this person definitely sees the pain points that we're having as an organization, and they correctly efficiently articulated why we need them, and vice versa. So that's just it when it comes to building a brand. Really, just think of those deep words. Think of things that mean a lot to you. Like if you want to, if you want people to know that you're confident or know that you're funny, whatever the case may be, definitely articulate that and make sure it doesn't come. It also doesn't come back to bite you in the long run. But that's all that I have. And what I also do is drop my information in the chat. And then if you want to talk more about cybersecurity or just specifically like healthcare, things like that, I can try to schedule time with you guys to do one-on-ones.
Perfect, Q. Thank you so much. And also, just so most of you know, when you sign up for the actual meeting, you will receive an email after this with all of the contacts. So that means you can reach out to everyone that's here as well in case you want to follow up and do one-on-one discussions if you're not a part of the Q&A later. All right, so thanks, Mr. Q. Appreciate your knowledge as always. You're the man. Is Joshua, are you online, Mr. Joshua Rucker? I didn't see you dial in. If not, we'll jump ahead to the next speaker. Nope. Okay. No. All right. So next we have up Jamie. Are you on board?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. Oh, I'm looking at a nice computer. We can't see your face, but we can see the computer.
I got my toboggan on, so hold on.
Got you. So Mr. Jamie is here, and I want to introduce this guy because you guys know that a lot of the questions that start off in the morning, when I wake up and I check the group, it starts off with Jamie at the help desk. And I wanted to bring this guy in because I feel like he's a legend, right? A lot of folks, they skip this step. They really do. And he's one of those persons that are literally living this day by day with everything that he goes through, his battle with printers, his battle with the end users, his battle with the networking team, like the whole 9 yards. I feel like this is a guy right here. You can pick his brain. If you're starting out, this is one place that you can actually leverage a lot of information of what he's going through, because he's a living testimony of everything that you do at the service desk. So without further ado, Mr. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm gonna leave it out there. He's gonna cover the service desk and the help desk and the day in and day outs of everything you can expect if you're starting off, and if this is the approach that you want to go with.
All right. Hey guys, my name is Jamie. Also go by James. I've been in IT for several years now. My background is or was customer service, retail, industrial. I got in IT relatively late in my life. I'm 38 now. So I started in IT on the help desk. Um I've done MSPs, and I've also worked enterprise level help desk. Uh, Generally, help desk is probably the easiest, fastest way to get in IT. You can get into help desk by way of certifications, degree, or networking. My first help desk job, I got in because I was lucky and because of my soft skills from working customer service. From there, I did help desk for a large MSP, CompuCom, and then I worked for a company called Marshall McLennan, which is a large financial company. They do a bit of everything. And then from there, I was a sysadmin for MSP. And then I went to become an Intune engineer, and I'm desktop support. Do not ask why I went back. Uh, so yeah, like what's the name was saying? Help desk is generally going to be entry level, and that's generally going to be what you do first. Sometimes you can skip it. It's not easy. You basically have to know a lot, do a lot if you want to skip it. But generally, you want to get into help desk because it provides you knowledge from the ground up. You learn how to troubleshoot. You learn how to build soft skills. You learn a bit of everything from troubleshooting software, hardware, networking, some cybersecurity skills you build up. From there, once you get a year or two experience, you can move on to desktop support and then go wherever you want to go from there. I can answer tons of questions about help desk, about desktop support, uh, about how to network. Kim and Q gave wonderful information about how networking. Personally, like I said, my first job I've gotten was through my customer service skills and luck. But every job I've had after that, purely networking. I knew someone, and they were able to get me into the next job. And the job I have now, through
Hi,
networking.
everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on here and tell you a little bit about federal resumes. My name is Nicole Hammond. I am a self-taught federal resume expert at this point, I guess. So I just wanted to give you some tips on the things that I use to help my clients get pushed through and referred over for employment after applying for their federal positions. So first thing you want to do is tailor your resume. Okay. When we're talking about federal resumes, your federal resume is like an interview. It's like a complete interview. It's like an interview on paper. So it's going to be a lot of pages. So don't fret if you see it's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 pages long, because you're actually interviewing for the position on paper. So you're going to want to tailor your resume for each specific position. I know it seems daunting, but that's what you're going to have to do, because you want to show them that you have the skills to do the task for that position. Um, it's going to be customized for that specific job. So when you're writing out your objective, you want to make sure that you mention the job specifically, you mention the department specifically, or the agency or the sub agency specifically. When you're working through the summary portion, you're going to want to make sure that you always reference back to keywords that are in the job description. And you want to make sure that your skills section also has those keywords pulled in from the job description. And when we talk about, like for tech, we're talking about specialized skills, right? So you're talking about all your CompTIA certs, all your AWS certs, anything cybersecurity related. You're going to list all of them. You might even want to list your proficiency levels in those certs. But even when you're listing those, don't stop there. Like, you want to quantify those skills and give examples for those skills. So we're really digging deep. We're not just saying, hey, I have my AWS cloud practitioner cert. You're going to say, hey, I have my AWS cloud practitioner cert, and I built this particular system. I reduced downtime by 15%. You're always going to want to add a metric to everything, almost everything that you add to your resume. If you have a security clearance, please list it. Even if it's expired, list it. List when you had it. Or if you fall under a special hiring authority. So the feds like to hire certain people in different ways, right? And so, like, veterans get additional points for their service. Thank you for your service. Disabled people who are disabled also have a special hiring authority. And when we're talking about disability, we're not talking about, disabled, totally disabled, like through Social Security. We're talking about if you have diabetes, or if you've been diagnosed with depression, or if you have osteoarthritis, or there are a bunch of different ways to be listed as disabled under Schedule A. So I would definitely encourage you to go and look at Schedule A under the Disabilities Act and see what you can qualify for, because that'll give you an extra advantage in applying for a federal position. Another key point is you're going to want to quantify your accomplishments. So, like we talked about earlier, anytime you can attach a number to an accomplishment or your achievements, like how many people did you manage on your team? How many teams? How many customers did you help? How many clients have you worked with? Did you improve processes? By how much? So there are a bunch of different ways that you can quantify what you've done. Make sure that you always list your tech-specific experience. Even if you work for other subcontractors or in private sectors, make sure you list any databases, because all those databases are used in the feds as well. So, and not only that, but the feds might have their own version of that database that you worked in. So always list all the systems and frameworks that you've worked on. So another thing, like we talked about before, is don't be shy. List everything you can. Also list your involvement, list your community involvement. If you're volunteering on the weekends, if you're, like, I'm a foster parent, if you're a foster parent or a former foster parent, if you've, if you work with the kids at church, list that. List if you've coached sports. List if you've played sports. I mean, we want to show that you can work well within a team, right? So, a couple of key takeaways. Sorry, I won't make this too long. I think we're already at 5 minutes. We're going to make sure that you tailor your resume specifically to the job. Quantify your achievements. Use any metric you can to quantify your achievements. Your resume is going to be long, so don't freak out. You are going to create an updated PDF version of your resume for each job you apply for. So on usajobs.gov, I wouldn't fill out the profile. I would just upload your resume, your specific resume to that job that you're applying for, because we want to make sure that they get all the information on how you qualify for that job posting. And lastly, your skill set. They just want to know that you know what you know. and make sure you have your transcripts, make sure you have your certs. If you are a part of organizations or associations, please make sure that you have proof of that. You can't just say, oh, I'm a part of like National Society of Black Engineers, and you have no proof that you're a member. So make sure that you can always back up all of your claims. If you have any other questions, please let me know. I'm always around. I'm always in the group. I'm always working on someone's resume. So just let me know. And I'm so excited to be here. I hope that you guys are getting a bunch of good information, and I can't wait to watch the replay. Talk to you soon.
So she's actually in the group. That's Miss Hammond. She works on the
Mhm.
federal resume. So I wanted to also give you guys a different scope of that. Kim covers the general resume, if I'm correct, as well, and that piece of the pie. And then she's also covering the federal piece. So combined knowledge to me, if you have Kim working on one piece and then you have Miss Hamilton doing the next piece for you, you guys could be set up for really a lot of success, right? If there are things that you don't understand, for me, I always recommend fire up a home lab, fire up some type of lab. You don't have to be huge, you don't have to go big. You can start off with just a basic computer, small computer. It doesn't have to be big. You can do a virtualized system. There's so many different virtualized software that's out there that you can actually use, and we can talk about that on the Q&A side if you wanted to get started. But cybersecurity, you can do home labs. Um, Engineering side, you could do home labs. Networking, if you're trying to do help desk, whatever it is, anything that you're trying to go into the tech field, you can actually do some type of home labs to complement it. And then a lot of folks don't understand too, you doing home labs or any type of lab, it also gains that experience. You can actually put this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Kim, can you not put this stuff on your resume as far as experience that you have gained by just building something and working with it?
It depends on the way you do it. It depends on the way you do it. But one thing I was going to jump in and say, excuse me, you could definitely put it in your portfolio. So if you do something with the home labs and you can take screenshots or make like a short walkthrough video, then you could put that in your portfolio, because sometimes the employer could care less if you've done it for another employer, or if you're a freelancer or a business owner. A lot of times they're not looking at your resume. They're looking at, can you do X, Y, and Z? Then I just want to pay you for doing that. Like sometimes I hire other vendors. If I want somebody to create websites, I could care less if they work creating websites for 12 years. If they can show me real websites and they can walk me through the process, I'm like, okay, you're legit. You can do what I, need you to do.
Correct. And there you go. You heard it from the master. So I say if you are doing anything, if you're still starting off, you can start out just doing something at home, add it to your portfolio, and you'll be good to go. Yes, Mr. Q, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, don't add it on your resume if you can't back it up. If you can't speak confidently about it, don't add it, because I've done many interviews with people and they said like, "Oh, I built like a home lab." I'm like, "Okay, tell me more about it." And then from there, they're like, "Oh, well, I didn't fully do it. I watched some videos on it." So then you just make yourself look stupid.
Yeah, so there's that fake it till you make it process. I know a lot of folks have actually done the fake it till you make it and they've gone far, but I feel like eventually it catches up to you, because it's going to come to that one point where someone's going to ask you, like you were saying, can you demonstrate? And you might be flopping. So if you even fake it till you make it, that's all good because you got in there. But don't forget that you faked it, and you might want to go back and try to refine those skills just in case, I think we have about 5 minutes left before the call switches over, and I wanted to start the Q&As because I know we have a lot of folks on here that have questions for us. But like I said, we only have 5 minutes, so if you guys wanted to start switching over to the Zoom, I apologize. This is only a 1 hour block, but if you switch over to the Zoom, we can start taking some of your questions and diving deeper into anything that you may have going on.